Wake up on a Friday. Larry Krueger, Damon Bruce, Niners in a gotta have it game at Lambeau. Are they going to have to gotta have it without their starting quarterback, their starting left tackle, and their star pass rusher? Oh no, tell me it ain't so. Wake up.
It is Friday, November 22nd. Wake up, of course, brought to you by Sam's Chowder House, and it's great to have you back here. Damon Bruce from his usual location. We got a Levi's Larry Krueger. He is already down in Santa Clara, which means he can bring us the very latest of the number one question surrounding this game at Lambeau Field. Larry, yesterday we learned that Brock Purdy walked off the practice field. The shoulder soreness turned into a level of discomfort, which had him leave the practice session and did not return. And that doesn't sound very good. Now, I know that Shanahan put a brave face on this and sounded optimistic, even in talking about the absence of practice. What do you think? Is Brock Purdy going to be able to gut it out and go through his shoulder discomfort on Sunday? I think they're in a lot of trouble even if he plays. If he doesn't, I don't even know if they need to get on the airplane to go to this game. They're in a lot of trouble without him.
Well, I mean, it's easy to say that. Brandon Allen's practiced, well this week, and we'll see. I don't know. Brandon Allen, by the way, would start. John Lynch said as much today on the radio that it will be Allen and not Dobbs at quarterback for the 49ers. So I would say, Shanahan made it seem like, hey, you know what? He's progressing and he's trending towards playing. Lynch said, hey, Brock's a real tough guy, so on and so forth. My guess is he's going to get out there and give it a go. I mean, this is a guy who had his elbow ligaments ripped out in the Eagles championship game and still went out there and tried to throw passes with his elbow, where he needed a surgery to repair his elbow. So I would say he's probably going to wind up going. But if not, they'll go with Brandon Allen, and Dobbs will be number 2. And I would imagine either way, I would say this has to be, if you look at, how do you win, right? You're always looking for a path to victory, Damon. And to me, the path to victory is copy what the Bears did last week. The Bears ran the ball a ton. They ran the ball for 5 yards a carry, 5.3 a carry. They ran it like 34 times or something like that. And they dominated the time of possession, and they didn't win, but that's the right blueprint to win. They just didn't get the win. If their field goal doesn't get blocked at the end, it's a win for the Bears. So I would copy that blueprint. I don't think the Packers are stopping the run that great. I think you can run at them. And I think in this game, I'd have like a 65-35 run-pass split.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the right thing to do. We have seen this be what we are calling the path to victory in other games, yet, Mr. Runs the football a lot has been throwing the football an awful lot in terms of what Kyle Shanahan's been asking his team to go out and operate offensively, and it's left a lot of people, I think, pretty frustrated. By the way, with the Brock Purdy injury, light bulb going off, I see some people in the chat, Larry, are saying Daniel Jones just got cut by the New York Giants, and he did. He was released by the New York Giants today. I mean, that is a quick slide out of the organization from the news that we just got Daniel Jones benched to the following Friday. He's not allowed back in the building anymore. He gave his very, classy, dignified goodbye. He could see the writing on the wall, and the Giants, showed him the way out. Daniel Jones is not the answer. I think I speak for you there too, Larry, when I say that. I don't think that is going to help pull the 49ers up from the frustrating year that they find themselves in, or this Brock Purdy situation. So let's just snip this Daniel Jones could come and help thing right in the butt. What's amazing to me.
I mean, what's he going to do? I mean, this guy's like one of the most turnover-prone quarterbacks I think I've ever seen. I mean, turnovers just come home to roost in Daniel Jones's lap. I'll say this. he's a scout's dream. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He looks like a quarterback. Central casting, it's like I
Yeah,
could see where scouts would be like super intrigued because he's not just big. He's 6'5", 6'6". He's not just fast. He's like very, very fast. Like he can run away from you. So
yeah.
I mean, I understand why people are intrigued. I'd be intrigued to try to take a look and see if I could build him up. I mean, the bottom line though is his like dials are off as far as risk reward, taking care of the football. He just doesn't, you know what I mean? His dials are so far off. I don't know that you can get him right,
It's like the feel. It's just
right
the
way
feel of the game. He doesn't feel the game around him
at
very,
all.
very well. And, you are right. He is a scout's dream. I don't know if this is politically correct, if you can even say this anymore, but we don't give a shit. The old saying used to be look like Tarzan, play like Jane, right? And he really does.
That is so inappropriate. I mean, I distance myself from that comment. Tarzan, I apologize to everybody who associates and likes Tarzan and the people who favor Jane. I apologize.
So you're trying to suck up to Team Tarzan and Team Jane all in the same apology. Typical Krueger, really is.
I'm just trying to, keep us afloat. We don't want to be attacked.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyways, he might be one of those guys who signs up for the better career in a different situation. And I do think he is going to get unreported. I do think he's going to get another situation. He's going to get another opportunity. He is, he's pennies on the dollar in terms of an investment at this point in his career. And some team's going to give him a shot. Whether or not it holds or not, we do not know. But I got to tell you, Larry, honestly, when I heard John Lynch announce that it was Brandon Allen, I forgot he was on the team. Like every discussion you and I have had about backup quarterback play in the offseason was around Josh Dobbs and Tanner Mordecai, who you were in love with at the time. And I was even thinking, let's get this game for Krueger. Because here's the thing, Tanner Mordecai, he's from Wisconsin. The weather's supposed to be kind of bad this weekend. Maybe Tanner Mordecai should get the start just because he's going to be back in Wisconsin. And I know that you're freaking sick enough to think that way too a little bit. You were thinking Mordecai.
No, I'm with you on this one. I'm with you on this one. If Brock Purdy can't play, the Niners' best chance to win, in my opinion, is to go with Tanner Mordecai. I think Tanner Mordecai at the end. Right now we got it's a snapshot in time. It's November 22nd, 2024. So at this point in history, Brandon Allen is the guy that is the obvious choice, and that's the one that they're going with. That's the one who Kyle's going with if Brock can't go. So we're just kind of fooling around. But if you said to me, you have to win the game on Sunday and your life depends on it, I'm starting Tanner Mordecai over Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs. I just believe in Tanner Mordecai more. He's accurate. He's fast. The moment's not too big. I think he would be fine. I really think they could win with Tanner Mordecai. Plus, if you had Tanner Mordecai, you would do what you probably need to do anyway, which is run the goddamn ball. Run the ball. Okay, one thing, though. Let's talk about Brock Purdy because I'm kind of been inspired today. We may get a chance to talk to Brock Purdy. I've been inspired for my question of the day because I think about the questions I ask these guys. For Brock Purdy by this. Let me share the screen, Damon. Our good friend, your friend and ours, Greg Cosell on the Ross Tucker podcast.
I've got the clip already stowed away from my 11 o'clock show. I've seen this, and this is really interesting. I'm glad you're playing it.
All right, here we go. I get the endorsement. Here we go. Here we go. Greg Cosell. Hold on. Back that thing up. All right, here we go.
Obviously, I watch the Niners every week, and I know that Kyle Shanahan has talked about the fact that there's nothing wrong with Brock Purdy, and again, he certainly knows more than I do. But just watching the tape, that's all I can do. And again, I don't know how they coach him, so I'm just telling you what I see on tape and what I think based on what I see. I think that Purdy is just, for whatever reason, the innate and refined and nuanced sense of timing and anticipation that has been really a foundation of his game since he became a starter 2 years ago is not quite at the same level this year. Now, I don't know if he's not confident in his receivers. I don't know the reason, but I just feel like that there's throws that are there that we've seen him make that he's not turning it loose. And again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that's what I see. And I feel like he's just not as comfortable. I feel like he's been leaving the pocket at times unnecessarily. I just don't see him playing with the same level of comfort and timing and anticipation. And as you know, Ross, that has to be his game because he's not a power thrower. Obviously.
So he doesn't see Purdy playing with the same comfort, comfort and anticipation. Is that what he basically said? Comfort?
Well, yeah, he basically said,
comfort, rhythm, and anticipation.
Right. It looks like the timing is off, the rhythm is off. And I thought that the key word that he said in there was, maybe it's his receivers. And I think it takes two to tango, man. And I think that timing and what's throwing the timing off is the receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, or as we've said a million different times, creating the separation that makes him comfortable to deliver the ball. So, we're not some Purdy apologists over here. I think we're pro Purdy, but we're not apologists. He's not having the same kind of year that he had in just years past. But I think that it takes two to tango, and I think that it really is the team's fault around him. I mean, how about this? Show me the San Francisco 49er who ain't a little bit off this year, right? Who's the one?
No, but I think it is worthy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I do think it's worthy of asking Brock about, is your timing, rhythm, comfort level in the pocket in any way altered from this year? See what he has to say. Because he's not going to say hey, my receivers suck, or he's not going to blow. He's not going to throw his offensive line under the bus, or what I mean. He's not going to do any of those things. But I would love to hear his perspective.
He will 100% take all responsibility. He won't even put it back on the coaches. He won't put it on any teammates. He'll wear it. And that's why he's the leader, right? I mean, that's why he's QB1. He wants the responsibility. Deebo, walked past him on the airplane in Tampa. I'm sure you've heard this story by now. And they just won the game. And Brock is, not happy with the way that it went. And Deebo was like, that's why he's Brock Purdy. He's always looking to get better. He's always looking to improve.
You mean Deebo didn't say lock in, Brock? Lock in.
No, he didn't start choking his center.
Lock in, Brock.
Lock in, bro. No, but look,
wait a second. We have a food request, Damon, and ding, 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 ding. Food request. Simeon.
Less than a week from Thanksgiving. So if you got to get it in, Larry, the special shrimp cocktail update.
Larry, can you share your special shrimp cocktail dish? In a stream. Was this last week? Did we talk about this already?
We talked about it on Wednesday. Why you thought we had to stop the beginning of the show to go to this right now is what I'm even more curious about than the question itself.
Well, I think I accidentally pumped it up there. Didn't mean to. I'm working on the keypad. Don't have the point and click capability. Everything's about manual dexterity this morning. And there you have it. And since
so Larry, got a little horseradish in your shrimp cocktail. It's obviously ketchup, a little lemon goes in the shrimp cocktail as well. And then you take the shrimp and you dice the shrimp, and then you put the shrimp in the cocktail, and then you serve it with crackers, which is the boat that they all ride to your mouth in. Is that correct?
There's also some celery in there. Yes. But other than that, a little celery, a little shrimp, a little spicy cocktail sauce, some crackers, and you're good to go. It's a gotta have it. It's a little expensive because shrimp meat ain't cheap, but it's a very good especially if you're doing if you're doing like a turkey, you're looking for an appetizer. You're looking for a 2:00 appetizer. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Right.
Give it a try.
Something tasty, not necessarily filling, but satisfying. It'll keep everybody quiet until the dinner hits the table. There you go, Krueger.
There you
in
go.
Terms
We
of
got
the super chats that you're bringing up. Lock in. Would you play? I see you got a couple others. What else we got?
Okay, yeah. Let's go with Joseph Ernberg, who says Daniel Jones, bigger, stronger, more athletic. Brock Purdy, sign him now. Oh my God,
no,
he's not.
no.
That is so unfair. Just take out their stats. Do you have a computer?
Not to pick on Joseph, but Joseph, that tweet alone represents how
all that is wrong.
No, how little people understand about what makes the quarterback position go. What's
Are
really
you giving him
important.
a you people? Is that a you people?
I'm dropping a you people on Joseph.
You people.
No, but this is, just to think that the guy who is built bigger, built faster, the sturdier frame has to be the better quarterback. Like the slighter guy who went in the last round, I can't wrap my mind around him being better than the guy who was drafted very high in the first round, who was more of a real athlete looking kind of dude. Brock Purdy is 1,000,000 times the quarterback Daniel Jones on his best day could ever dream to be. There is no putting Daniel Jones in another situation and he becomes better than Brock Purdy. That ship has sailed. He does not process the game, see the field, or field the game in the way that Purdy does. All of these intangibles. Why are they called intangibles? Because you tangibly cannot measure them. So many people are just obsessed with the measurables, 40 times, bench press reps and all this stuff. And that look, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't matter. But to a quarterback, it doesn't matter more than being able to process all that information as fast as you can. And that's what makes Brock Purdy a special football player. That is, basically the strummed note that all of Brock Purdy's detractors simply cannot hear, even though it's being played loud and clear over the amplifier for whatever reason, because you don't like the way the guy looks. You can't even hear the song that he's playing. And it's that, again, I'm not picking on Joseph, but just that, hey, the other guy was drafted higher. He's a lot bigger. Go get him. He's already a bigger version of Brock. No, he's not. No, he's not. Just because the two of them played the position of quarterback does not mean they're the same thing at all. Stop it.
Bigger, stronger, faster is better in football at almost all positions, not necessarily quarterback. KR says Mason 2.5 touches this Sunday, over or under. If he goes under, I am losing. If he goes under 2.5 touches, I am losing my shit in the post game. I am absolutely unloading in the post game. You're going to Lambeau Field. It's going to be 30 degrees. You've got a 240-pound back who is just a monster, and he can't get 3 touches. 3? Come on. If he doesn't get 3 touches, I will lose it.
By the way, I was going to save this for a little bit later on, but since we're here at this moment in the show, Larry, you want to hear the single most offensive or indefensible 49ers stat of the year?
Yes. Fire away.
Brock Purdy is this team's leading touchdown rusher with 4.
Wow.
How? How in God's green earth you have Jordan Mason leading the NFL in rushing at the dawn of this season, turn around and then hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey an insane amount of times in his first 2 games back, and Brock Purdy remains your leading rushing touchdown leader with 4.
Well, and think about this. Here's the thing that just drives me crazy. For other teams, depth is like a great thing. The Packers have Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. They've got Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson,
Yeah.
and Bo Melton and Dontavion Wicks. But for the 49ers, it's like suddenly they've got, Christian and JP Mason and Garendo, and it's like a huge fucking problem. It's like nobody can get on the field. Only one guy gets carries. They're losing games. They can't find the right balance. They've got talented guys sitting around. Their EPA per rush has gone from 10th without McCaffrey to 21st with McCaffrey. It's amazing. The Niners had a top 10 rushing offense. They added Christian McCaffrey. I think we all thought, okay, they're going to have a top tier rushing offense and they may be able to run their way to the playoffs. They add McCaffrey and the net result of their rushing game is worse than it was before he showed up, and the other two guys have just been rendered totally useless. So it's amazing how depth in the backfield, which you would say is an absolute awesome thing, and this Shanahan, regime at one point ran Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert in a rotation. We've seen them do it, but it's like it's Christian and like the Christianettes. It's like, can we get a little Mason? Can we get a little Garendo? What good is it to have a game-breaking guy with game-breaking speed if you're not going to put him on the field? Line him up wide and run him on a go pattern. That would be better than having him stand on the sidelines next to the coach.
Can I take it even a step further? Can I make the point that you're making even harder to understand? It's while you're abandoning two viable, real deal options to back up Christian McCaffrey, the one guy who you won't stop giving the ball to has proven implicitly he cannot run with the football anymore. And for whatever reason, as Mason and Garendo vanish on milk cartons, Deebo Samuel is still right in the middle of this team's rushing attempts and so not only does Shanahan not understand I've got two valuable guys that I could use to help this out, he insists upon throwing plays away on a guy who is thoroughly proven on the football field he ain't going to help you out by running the ball. That, to me, makes the whole thing even worse, Larry. He keeps on going to another guy who can't get it done in the name of not playing the two guys who have gotten it done.
I don't know if you saw my video on Deebo, but basically, it's just, Kev put Deebo's done on it. And of course, it got lots of that right there just gets clickbait. Lots of attention.
You clickbait. Yeah. Oh, Larry.
Yeah, it was a clickbait. It was a total clickbait headline.
Upset me and the algorithm.
I know, seriously. But my point was just that really, Damon, if you think about it, people are acting like, what? Deebo was great. This is amazing. Deebo's just going to keep being great. And Shanahan almost is like maybe leading that charge, right? I mean, he keeps putting him in, he keeps handing him the ball and acting like it was 2 years ago. And Deebo's not the same player. When you look at power players, and I thought about this for a while. I'm like, what are we seeing with Deebo? And I'm like, okay, there's really only two kinds of runners in football. There's the guys who try to, run away from you, run to daylight, avoid contact. And then there's the guys who are just, I'm going to run over you and I'm going to run through you. And the run through you crowd, those guys are badass, but they also don't last that long. And I was looking at some of these guys. Listen to these comparisons. It's pretty interesting. Jerome Bettis, Hall of Fame player, 8,000-yard seasons, none after the age of 29. Larry Johnson, who played, one of the great power backs of his day, former Penn State Nittany Lion. He had 37 touchdowns in his third and fourth years combined. He had 2,000-yard seasons. He was totally done at the age of 27. Earl Campbell, 5,000-yard seasons, had a 1,900-yard season in 1980. No 1,000-yard seasons after the age of 28. Marshawn Lynch, one of the more, premier power backs of the last 20 years, 6,000-yard seasons, none after 28. Craig Ironhead Hayward, done at 29. Christian Okoye, 2,000-yard seasons, done at 30. Mike Allstott, 6 Pro Bowls, done at 28. The great Jim Brown, 7,000-yard seasons done at 29. So there's a Walter Payton out there. There's a John Riggins. There's a couple of exceptions to the rule. But
Right.
Deebo's 28. And look at the run over you crowd when they were at 28. They were cooked. They were all either done or literally on the last year of being done. So I don't think it's really, and I know Deebo's a receiver, so he hasn't had the same mileage as those backs. But give you another guy, David Boston is kind of a big, powerful receiver who ran through people like Deebo. He had 2,000-yard seasons, but he had a 6-year career. So I'm just saying that
all-time rocked up dudes. Oh, he had a body on him.
He was so yoked up. Yeah, I'm 6'4", 250, and just fast and probably roided. But he was awesome though. But David Boston. But I mean, I'm just saying, Deebo's 28. So it's very well it just could be done for Deebo. You know, it's just that simple. And just the way it is. I mean, you know, it's like power backs end quickly usually. And so they're in a weird situation because, you know, Ayuk's done for next year. And then Deebo, you know, contractually, it looks like they want to keep him around, but I don't know if that he's going to give you a whole lot. And then you got McCaffrey with the double Achilles. So, man, they got a lot of work to do in this offseason. They're going to have to rebuild their offensive line, rebuild their defensive line, add a linebacker or two, and maybe add some weapons because their existing weapons are hurt or older or in decline.
Like and subscribe, my good friends, to Wake Up. We go 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. We're brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. I haven't seen the video yet, Larry. We've talked about the shrimp cocktail. They've got a really good shrimp cocktail down at Sam's. They've got an incredible Oysters Rockefeller, which is basically, you know, served with a side of Larry Krueger every single time they give it to you. There she is, the star of the whole show herself. That lobster roll, the paella, the cioppino, it's all fantastic. Look, I don't know how many. How many
cioppino. Look at that cioppino.
It's such a rainy day here in San Francisco. A bowl of cioppino would be perfect today here in the Bay.
The broth and it's just incredible.
Again, you're going to get the biggest, hardest to prep meal of the year coming up next week, right? And Thanksgiving. So take mom, take grandma, take the chef in your home down to Sam's Chowder House, either the week leading up to or the week after Thanksgiving, to give them a night out of the kitchen and say, thanks very much for that meal. It was incredible. Plus, turkey is, you know, it's got like a 72-hour run. And then you're like, give me something else. I need something other than turkey here. So get down to Sam's Chowder House when you're ready to pull that something other than turkey lever. You know, we're just talking about Deebo Samuel, Larry, and Terrell Owens was calling out Deebo on 95.7 just yesterday, saying it seems like he's more focused on his pregame attire than the game. If we can shift that focus, maybe we can energize and create some more production. From an offensive standpoint, I'm just being tongue-in-cheek with that, he basically says. You know, but I will say this. In Tampa, when Deebo walked in with his, like, leather shorts and jacket, I'm just like, dude, this guy has lost the plot. He is trying to look like a dandy for whatever reason. And I mean, I think there is something to it. Like, you know, if you're an NFL player looking to rock a red carpet every single time you walk in, I wonder if your priorities really are straight. And, you know, T.O. can say he's being tongue in cheek. He's not. He's not. You know, Deebo, if we're being totally honest about Deebo Samuel, here's a guy that has a podcast for some reason, even though he's never been particularly interesting in any answer or back and forth he's ever been a part of. He's got a podcast. Why? Why? What is the Deebo Samuel podcast? What is it? Cleats and clicks or whatever it's called. Why? What? Who's dying to hear what Deebo Samuel has to say? Just play. Just play. Just produce. You know, the reason why Trent Taylor doesn't have a podcast is because everyone agrees no one really cares what Trent Taylor is going to say because he doesn't even hardly play. There are games this year where even though Deebo is playing in them, he doesn't hardly play. He doesn't hardly produce. Say whatever you want about T.O. Production wasn't the problem. It really wasn't. So just, I'm telling you, man, the season feels like it's unraveling and it's spiraling. And I've spent every single week telling you why I think the 49ers are going to win a game. The best thing that I have to offer as to why the 49ers could possibly win this game is because everyone in the world has already said there's no way that they can win. It's going to be a Packers win. You know, when the entire world is leaning in one direction, leaning in the other direction is sometimes a good idea. That's it, though. But I got no football reasons as to why the 49ers are going to go win this game in Green Bay. I don't have it. In a week where we think Brock Purdy's going to play but don't know, where I don't think Nick Bosa is going to play, but we still haven't gotten the final word on that. Plus, you got a pissed off Packer team just waiting for you. There's no resting on its laurels Packer team waiting for the 49ers at Lambeau Field. Here's what's waiting. Here's what is waiting. You got Jordan Love with his big arm hunting big plays downfield. You got LaFleur, who mixes in play action and a screen game very well. He's got, Josh Jacobs, who has the Packers ranking 4th in rushing yards. So when, you go play action to Josh Jacobs, you got to seriously bite on that. You got to be aware that this guy could be coming. You got Christian Watson, who's averaging 19 yards a catch. So he is the big target downfield. You got a ball-hawking defense. Xavier McKinney's got 6 interceptions, 7 pass deflections. He leads a pretty darn good defense. You got Kenny Clark giving him a push up the middle. He's a pretty good guy on the defensive line. And what you've also got, and the only reason why I know this is because there's this guy named Aaron Nagler, who is a Packers guy, content creator. And he used to write for Sports Illustrated. Then he branched out and started his own thing. And he's Cheesehead TV is his YouTube channel. And I pay attention to the stuff that he says. And one of the themes of this week is the Packers are pissed off that they lost by 3 points last year at Levi's Stadium in the playoffs. And that is something that they've been talking about internally, and there is no letting down against a 49er team that they really want to beat. And then, of course, you got the LaFleur-Shanahan connection. So, the Packers are not going to be, victims of a trap game. Well, the 49ers came in looking like they were limping a little, and they took their eyes off the 49ers, and the Niners shocked the world. No. The Packers are coming in here to beat you by 3 touchdowns. And when I say coming in here, I don't mean coming in here at all. The Green Bay Packers are waiting for the 49ers to come to them. I don't know what happened to Larry's computer. Not good. Not good. J49 trying to get tough. Oh, Damon, we don't scare so easily. F Green Bay. I hear you. But there's going to be no, and they took their eye off the ball, and the Packers underestimated the 40. No, they're still pissed about being sent home by this team last year. So we'll see. Has Krueger been sent home from Levi's Stadium? Has security thrown him out of the building? Kevin, are you still in this? Are you talking to Larry at all? Do we know what he's doing? Either way, it is great to have you here. Hit like and subscribe. Of course, we're doing this on the Krug Show. We're doing this on the Plus as well. Let's top into some supers. Let's do that while we're waiting for Larry to rejoin. Fuji Simeon says, looked like the Niners are going to miss rain and snow in Green Bay. Well, that's good. That's good. If it's not going to be an ugly, sloppy game. Well, I don't know. Sometimes the worst team on the field benefits from the ugly, sloppy game. The same way to Cleveland last night. By the way, we already have our star of the week in the NFL. No fantasy performer is going to have a better week than the snow in Cleveland had. I mean, there's nothing that happens in sports where everybody watching is like, this is awesome. Everybody loved that snow game on Thursday Night Football. Steelers and Browns last night. This is why God has given us high definition televisions. That and slow motion replay of bunker shots during golf tournaments. Nothing sprays quite like sand in slow motion. But the scene in Cleveland last night was just fantastic. I mean, that went from you could see the green field and every single, yardage marker on it to you can't even see the field anymore in about 10 minutes. It went from, hey, the grass is green to no one can see the grass anymore. That was accumulation. That was a fantastic game. That was an awful lot of fun. I should have added snow to my fantasy roster. But Fuji Simeon, that sounds pretty good to me, man. If they are going to miss rain and snow in Green Bay, that is good news. Or maybe it isn't. Mike 824, thank you, Mike, says, will the D be able to get to Love without Bosa? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Maybe Floyd breaks through. But without Nick Bosa, it doesn't feel like a day that's set up to go well for the 49ers defense at all. He's back, folks. I don't know if we can hear him yet, though.
Something that Brock Purdy is dealing with on a pain tolerance. I know we have to cut about whether or not Brock Purdy got an MRI.
Where's that coming from?
Brock Purdy's
hold on.
is
that Kevin?
And I think anybody who's
hold on.
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm hearing somebody talk
That
down
was-
the line or in the room with you.
No, that was I'm in the control room, and that was the studio. So
Well, aren't you technically now in KNBR studios? Aren't KNBR studios now down at Levi Stadium or about to be, Larry? Is that what's going on?
no, that's not actually. That's fake news. Fake news.
Oh, fake news.
Yeah, that's not actually going to happen. There'll be a couple shows there'll be a couple people that do shows from down here, but this isn't going to be like the main studio. Sorry about the audio issues this morning.
No, that's okay.
We got a microphone with kind of a messed up jack, so I think we're gonna have to change out our travel mic. We're gonna have to change out the travel mic.
There you go. Well, hey, it's only week 12. We should get it together at some point. But
yeah, well, I think traveling with the travel mic has made it kind of maybe it's damaged it a little bit.
Maybe.
So,
Tobin wants to know, Larry, would Purdy thrive on the surface of Mars without his weapons?
I know.
It's a question that some people will be asking.
Yeah. Lock in. That's all I would say.
By the way, Mike wants you to know the season is now cheeks. We've officially entered the Mike Tyson butt cheeks portion of the season. And Fuji Simeon again says, hope Brock and Trent can play. Don't rush Bosa back. And let's pick that up, Larry.
I don't think Trent's going to play.
We haven't talked about. What, Trent's not going to play?
I don't think so. I mean, Trent took the shot of Toradol last week. He was barely moving on Friday, took the shot and played. My experience with those shots has been that they will help you get through that day, but then there's residual payment on the back end. So my guess is that he can't go, and it's Jalen Moore.
So tell me why the 49ers even got a shot in this game.
Well,
Purdy looks hurt. We don't know Bosa's status. I think it's safe to lean into he's probably not playing, and you're saying that Trent might not play. The only good news in terms of wasn't there last week, is there this week, is what Charvarius Ward has been practicing and is going to go play in this game.
Yeah.
But unless he's also playing defensive end, I just don't know, Larry.
Well, they're going to have to blitz more. I mean, they're a 13% blitz rate team, one of the lowest in football. That's going to have to change. They're going to have to blitz. They're going to have to speed up the quarterback. One thing that I think is interesting is that the Bears gave you a little bit of a blueprint last week. Run the heck out of the football. This is the thing that I just don't get. Play to your talent. If you have 5 receivers, then go empty and go 5 wide and line them up in college spread, and let's do it. If you got no receivers and a bunch of running backs, then you got to figure out a way to get your talent on the field. That's where the Niners are. They've got JJ at receiver. Deebo's having a hard time separating. Pearsall's a rookie. Cowing's now concussed. Kittle is coming back. That's the other one you didn't mention. Kittle's going to come back this week. He should be back and playing well. But you have to put Guerendo on the field. You have to put Mason on the field. I asked Shanahan about this week, and he kind of spoofed me. I'm like, hey, can we see Guerendo and CMC? Can we see JP Mason and CMC? And he's like, you mean use 2 running backs at the same time? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, we've done that in the past. It's like, do it. It's like, why am I? And it's like, it's week 12. You have no more receivers. You've just gone 2 weeks since CMC has come back, and your offense is struggling since he came back. Why is that? Because you were starting to use Guerendo and Mason, and they were doing some really good things. And it should have been CMC added to their mix. Instead, he just changed their mix, and now their mix is, I don't know if it's better. It might not be better. It doesn't. The numbers say that it's not better the last 2 weeks.
Why does some of one mean none of the other? I just don't understand that, especially for a coach who is looking to have dynamic matchup problems come from any position on the football field. How are you not playing, like I asked you on Wednesday, Larry, what would you do with 2 really good running backs? Would you play them both? Would you dare to even dream of, I don't know, playing them at the same time? How about, I want to show like some old wishbone footage from old Oklahoma. Give me some like Jamel Holloway, Oklahoma Sooner wishbone footage to show Kyle Shanahan. Be like, look at what you can do with two running backs in a backfield. I'm not saying that you got to run like cross bucks and wishbones and shit like that, Kyle, but just inspiration. Find some. Do something a little different than what everyone expects. I was talking about this yesterday with John Middlecoff. Had a great interview with John. He stopped by the channel, Larry, and he kind of leans into, he's giving a little theory that the 49ers have been so thoroughly studied that just teams are onto them. Every single other NFL head coach has studied Kyle Shanahan's running game. Not some of them, all of them. Every single coach in football, probably at every level of football down to high school, is looking at Kyle Shanahan's running game for ideas. And when you spend 4 years studying a guy, you start to figure out his tendencies. And I think that is also in the ball that is rolling downhill of all the things that is wrong with the 49ers, and, like an animated snowball coming down the mountain, it just gets bigger by the week. Somebody else, Shaggy gets caught up in it. Now Scooby-Doo gets caught up in the snowball and it's coming down the hill. Now Daphne's in it. And it's one mistake like begats another. So
you've been hanging with Shaggy. Hey, you've been getting some of those Scooby snacks.
Scooby snacks, baby. But no, this is seriously.
You're going Scooby comparisons. I got to wonder, where's the jar? I don't even see it back there anymore. It's like, what happened? Damon took some gummies before the show.
I'm so worried about the 49ers. So worried about the 49ers. No, but I think there's something to it, Larry. I think there's something to it.
The Scooby-Doo down the hill story?
Yeah, it's just, there's a snowball of nothing really went right all fucking year long, compounded by the fact that everybody has been studying the shit out of you since 2019, and you're not surprising anybody. There is no new wrinkle. The new wrinkle.
Well,
to the
there's
49ers
and
offense
that's
is
it right there.
also
You're supposed to constantly be,
Right.
evolving
Yeah.
and cutting edge, and there's a reaction to every action, and that so on,
The
so on and
evolution
so
of
forth.
this offense, the evolution of the offense seems to be is Purdy is always in shotgun, never under center, and play action's hard to find, which means you're devolving. You're not evolving.
I mean, I'd like to see a lot more. I'd like to see a lot more of Garendo on the field. I'd like to see a lot more. I mean, I'd like to see a lot more speed going forward in the future in this offense. That one thing that they miss right now is they miss speed. They're not fast. And then offensive line wise, they're getting beat to the spot. I mean, I think their O line is not particularly quick. And I think they're getting beat. I mean, I don't see a lot of, when I'm watching the all 22 the last couple of weeks, I'm not seeing a lot of run lanes. I'm not seeing a lot of room in the run game. So it starts there. You got to be able to run the ball, and they got to have some room to run the ball, and they can't create that space. So that's a concern. They need to finish upgrading their offensive line.
Larry, you just muted yourself.
No, I'm dealing with kind of a faulty mic today, so there we go.
You got the Jordan Mason of microphones. It was having a really good early season. The microphone's been hard to find the last couple of weeks, Larry.
There we go. Just got to play with it a little bit. Anyway,
I'm sorry, King Mustafa.
You got me now. Lock in, Larry. Yeah, exactly. We do have a big super here at the end here, at the bottom of the list. Fuji Simeon dropped $19.99.
Boom.
Recipe: use small bay shrimp.
Rock shrimp. Yeah, is it small bay shrimp? Do you use rock shrimp,
yes.
Larry, or do you use a normal shrimp and then you dice
cooked shrimp, not raw shrimp?
Okay.
You use cooked bay shrimp, and then dice up some celery, a little cocktail sauce, get some crackers, bingo. And he says, "Thanks, Larry. I have to make a dish for Friendsgiving, for Friendsgiving, all SI Wildcat alums. I have to represent also Reardon basketball ranked over SI. Me playing Reardon fight song in the background. It's better than the SI fight song."
By the way, let me just say, 2 kids, family, Thanksgiving. These are important, wonderful, sacred, special times. But boy, I miss those Friendsgivings as well. Those were so fun. Single Damon in San Francisco, no family to go to, getting together with a group of friends. Friends Thanksgiving was the best. God almighty. Oh,
you're having second thoughts about the whole family thing, huh?
No, definitely not. But there was a time and a place for everything. And God,
you thinking about maybe backing out of the family situation and running away with some young little thing?
No, Jillian has basically said, "I dare you to pull that off, you fat slob, partially out of work loser. Go ahead. You think you can work? You think you got a fastball to throw at a 26-year-old? Good luck, buddy." She's calling me Jamie Moyer at this point. Like, no,
you can't even install the car seats. All right.
Also true. I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Did you put this one up there before? KP, any word on Jed York's temperature regarding being 5-5? Jed can't be super fired up about this season. I've heard that it does get kind of volatile watching some of these games.
Well, I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, who do you think's a bigger Niner fan than Jed, right? I know everyone likes to shit on Jed. Believe me, he's invested, literally, the whole family portfolio. I'll say this. Jed York has done a really good job staying out of the spotlight, out of the limelight, off of social media. There's no public acknowledgement of really success or failure in the regular season. And that means Jed is matured and he's figuring it out. I got no problems with Jed at all. And I would not begrudge Jed the frustration that he's got to be feeling with this team, because everyone's feeling it. Everyone who is associated with paying attention to the 49ers is a little flabbergasted by how this whole thing has gone.
It's been a rough year. It really has. It's been a weird vibe all year.
Like, what's been the peak? What's been the best week of Niners football? As you said, they've had one, the third quarter against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Was that the zenith of the entire year?
Pretty much.
Well,
I mean, they have not played consistent football. I mean, the bottom line is I was worried in the offseason when they went for Campbell, when they started going, it's like you're going to replace Greenlaw with Devondre Campbell. I wanted to do it in the draft with a faster, younger body. And it's like they went to the veteran. And then it's like this wide nine. It's like, okay, they run their system, but, there's no blitzing, no, it's like you didn't have Bosa at the end. Was there, some creative blitzes? It's like there was one corner blitz off the edge that put Campbell one-on-one with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, that was a terrible idea. So it's like,
well,
I don't know. I mean, when you have slow linebackers, I mean, this is going to be the challenge of this week. They want to go with Campbell, especially going back to Green Bay against his former team. Winters was their highest graded linebacker last week. Fred Warner's totally wearing down. I asked him about it. He denied it, of course, but he's totally wearing down. He had 3 tackles last week. He's given up 30 receptions in a row, without breaking up a pass. So I mean, it's like he is at this point worn down from what he was, and Campbell is
who takes the
has
pressure
no
off
lateral
him?
agility.
Who helps Fred Warner through a game? I can't really think of the guy, and Fred Warner's helping everybody else on that field through their games.
I'm just saying, you wear down.
Yeah,
He's wearing down. And I asked him, I said, Fred, how do you rejuvenate in the middle, midstream when you're in the middle of a year and you're getting worn down? He's like, I don't get worn down. And it's like he kind of winked because he knows that he's absolutely getting worn down. He's absolutely getting worn down. He just doesn't want to talk about it or address it. And I understand the mindset, but I mean, that's what's happening. So, I mean, it's hard. Like right now, it's going to be really interesting. You don't have Bosa. You're going to have to send all kinds of blitzes. And yet you have guys like Devondre Campbell who are a liability in coverage, even if you don't blitz. So now, good luck. I would sit Campbell for Winters, but Campbell would lose his S if on his return game to Green Bay he got benched. He would absolutely lose it. So that's
whatever's best for the team. I'm not here for anyone's feelings or ego. There's no more room to consider anything other than how do we win a game we can afford to lose? And this is
sure.
it. Like, this is, hope goes to die at Lambeau Field with a loss. So here's what the Niners really need. They need an unexpected Sam Aquanu is the best player in football that nobody knew, kind of like level performance at him. And a wide 9 without bookend DNs might be time to give up on that, really.
Robert Beal had 5 sacks.
So it's going to take nothing short of like a 3 touchdown day from Christian McCaffrey or a 4 touchdown day from George Kittle. Those are the only 2 guys I got any confidence in going and having a good game at Lambeau Field as the team is currently constructed with doubts around Purdy and Trent and everything in Bosa right now. It's going to have to be a gaudy day from somebody. Hey, diddle, a lot of George Kittle. Like he's going to have to just start audibling out of his own blocking assignments and just saying, I'm going out in this pattern because Brock needs me out in this pattern. So fuck you, Kyle.
Mike 824 says blitz Demo, put Devondre Campbell on Christian Watson. Yeah, watch it happen. Yeah, exactly. Sure. I can picture it. And I asked Sorensen about it. The answers to my questions are uninspiring. If I could play you one, you'd laugh. Fuji Simeon says, imagine how much of a wreck if Jed acted like Jerry. Yeah, could you imagine if Jed was like drafting guys and had his own board?
Keeps talking about how he went to Notre Dame, so he knows football.
Yeah, and just locking out the scouts and picking whoever he wants. Fuji Simeon says, Larry, any update on the hoodie? with the bigger logo. I talked to Kev about it last night, Fuji Simeon, and he says that the logo size is as big as they can make it. So like the sweatshirt that Kev ordered with the logo patch, it's about, it's like double a hood ornament size. But yeah, that's that. They don't do bigger logos.
Not quite a Frisbee, not quite a dinner plate.
Yeah,
more a salad plate size.
Right. But I'll say this: the sweatshirt that Kev ordered with the Krug Show patch, the white sweatshirt, it's a good looking sweatshirt. It really is. That Krug Show patch that they make is, with the logo looks really tight. You'll like it. So
you sending me one for Christmas?
Would you like one? We can maybe work that out. I definitely have credit at my own store.
There you go. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll take some Krueger merch.
I dare you. I'll throw some merch your way.
I'll look at it this way. When good things happen. Let's go Hoosiers. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't give a fuck what happens to the 49ers. If Indiana beats Ohio State, that's it. I'm done. I'm the happiest person in the world. I don't give a shit what happens to your football team because I will be owning for the very first time in my life the single greatest football. If Indiana beats Ohio State, I want every single kid on the team to win the Heisman Trophy. The whole team gets the Heisman fucking trophy if we win this game, Larry. Let's go.
Is that Saturday?
9 a.m. our time. God, that's brutal. The 9 a.m. kickoff on the West Coast for the biggest game of my entire life.
Mufasa says sign Daniel Jones ASAP. Why are people so disenchanted with Purdy? Hey, by the way, how much longer? I'll throw you a question I threw to Dieter last night. How long do you think Kyle and John really have? The standard is to win the 6th Lombardi. I know it's crazy talk to get rid of Kyle because I've been stating that. I agree that is crazy talk. But there's nobody has forever. So what would you say? They've had 8. This is year 8. What would you say is going to be how many years before Jed goes, you know what? This isn't working.
2 more years.
2 more.
2 more.
Wow.
2 unsuccessful years. Missed the playoffs this year. Missed the playoffs next year. The year after that, you missed the playoffs. Yeah, everybody's gone. Miss the playoffs this year. Get back into the playoffs next year. That resets the entire clock. Nobody's going anywhere.
You're saying 2 consecutive missed playoffs.
Yes, this year and then not making the playoffs next year would, I think, start that clock officially ticking, the seat getting a little warm. What I really think, though, is about to happen, and what I think is the right way to just look at it, is that Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan are linked to one another. So what kind of a contract are you about to give Brock Purdy? How many more years does Brock Purdy have? Because I think that Purdy and Shanahan walk hand in hand. The day you walk away from one is the day you probably walk away from the other. So that's how I kind of think it's tied. And honestly, I think the 49ers are a pretty goddamn good football team, even in a bad season, and that they will be, it won't be out of the question for them to be back in the playoffs next year if they fail to make the playoffs this year. And I don't think anyone's going anywhere. I really don't. I hear what you're saying. Forever is not guaranteed. Nobody gets infinity years to figure it out. But I do not think, to react to the question about how's Jed York processing all this, I don't think Jed York has evaluated Kyle Shanahan is the reason why this has all gone wrong at all. As a matter of fact, I have it on pretty good authority that is not how he thinks at all. That Shanahan's admiration, as far as the Yorks are concerned, it's pretty high. So again, don't let YouTube content creator and fan noise distract you from the fact that the 49ers are very happy with how Kyle Shanahan has run this team over its last 8 years, and they're not looking to pull the fire alarm because this year has gone off the rails.
I'd probably say he has more than 2 years, but if you think about it, if they do miss the playoffs this year and miss the playoffs next year, I think that would dial up the heat for sure.
Yeah.
Nathan McFadden says,
how about the third year after that, right? Miss the playoffs this year, miss the playoffs next year. That third year, if Kyle's still the coach, playoffs become the only, mechanism that keeps you beyond that. So
you never know though. You never know because, the 49ers, parted ways with Jim Harbaugh. It was bizarre. Harbaugh was one of the best coaches going. You just never know how these things are going to go. Nathan McFadden says, tell Deebo he's banned from Golden Corral before kickoff, and maybe he'll lock in and go off.
I don't think Deebo's out of shape.
Golden Corral? I'm not familiar with the corral.
So Golden Corral is like basically a Midwestern, like Ponderosa, like huge
Ponderosa?
A salad bar, buffet, all you can eat. It's like a Sizzler.
Fresh Choice or something?
Yeah, it's like a Sizzler. What are they famous for their nacho cheese fountain or something like that? You get a nacho cheese fountain that you can dip your like everyone in the restaurant can put their hands on the nacho cheese fountain.
Sounds fucking disgusting.
Foul. Yeah.
That's just the worst thing of all time. That sounds so bad. So tell Deebo he's banned from going to Golden Corral. Is that like the all you can eat, like the Chili's Awesome Blossom or something?
Right. Yeah, it's you pay $24.99 for the worst frozen food flash fried buffet that you can find. What are those butterflied shrimp?
In college, we used to go to the pizza buffets, which is, as a college student, you'd pay like whatever it was. I think it was like $5.99 or something like that. It was some ridiculous amount of money in Sacramento. We'd go lift weights. We'd go to class, come back, go to the gym, lift weights, and then stop by the all-you-can-eat $5.99 pizza buffet at Godfather's and just freaking load up.
The nice thing about pizza is even when it's bad, it's still edible, right?
Exactly.
Like, have you ever taken a bite of a slice of pizza and just walked away instantly? Like, didn't return to that slice? Like, just, wrong.
No, but I'll say this. Great pizza will bring you back. We used to be loyal to the pizza place across the street from us called Sorrento's, right? But they closed. They had a rough go during the pandemic, but they really was a good little Italian restaurant. Anyway, they replaced it with a place called Pizzalina. And we just went there the other night for the first time. And
Amy's birthday.
For Amy's birthday. Yeah, nice. And the pizza was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Better than the one it replaced?
Well, different. Like the one it replaced was kind of like a more of like a meatier, old school pizza. I kind of like that, a little bit more doughy. But this was like the dough was lighter and flakier. It was really good. It was.
Would you call it very good? Is it the Brandon Allen or the Tanner Mordecai of your new pizza spots?
It's more of a Mordecai. It's like, it's an under the radar. Like, hey, get this.
Don't quite know what you have yet there. Still figuring it out.
You better get over to Pizzalina. There's a Mordecai, brewing over there.
Are you ready for this stupid article, which I'm sure somebody's working on right now? How come the 49ers aren't going to Tanner Mordecai in this game? Are they trying to protect Purdy? Because if Mordecai looks good, you could restart the whole quarterback on a rookie deal, and then you could cut Purdy. That column's coming, Larry. I don't know who's going to write it, but you're going to see that stupid fucking column in the next 48 hours, I promise.
I mean, think about that. Think about how different the narrative would be if suddenly they did go to Tanner Mordecai and he goes to Lambeau and lights it up with like 4 touchdowns to Kittle, 385 yards, 75 yards rushing, an amazing Tanner Mordecai performance back in the Midwest. He played at Wisconsin. He shows up at Lambeau. He lights it up. Who knew? He's a cold weather proven monster. Tanner Mordecai. Everybody's running for their. How did the Niners come up with Tanner Mordecai? Shanahan can win with anybody. Shanahan starts to believe his headlines. They trade Purdy.
You got Big Cat wearing a Tanner Mordecai, Wisconsin jersey the following week on, pardon my take, and it's all Wisconsin. You're getting Barry Alvarez memories, shot to your timeline in the algorithm, and it's all Wisconsin, baby. Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor demands a trade from the Colts to come to you guys because he wants to play with Tanner Mordecai.
It's all about Mordecai. I'm not coming unless Mordecai calls me. Oh boy.
I'm telling you, Mordecai can play, though. He can play. And I think he can play better than Brandon Allen. I think he can play better than Josh Dobbs. I really do. I would go with him. I really would. If Brock couldn't go, I would go with Tanner Mordecai. I really would.
Who is worse at elevating potential from their practice squad to see what you got? Here's my question for you. The number of, you've lost X amount of games here in your last 7 games. You're done. You're out of the year. You're not going to the playoffs. At what point in time will we see like the Isaac Guerrero, give me some freaking, when he's back from concussion, Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall? Like, at what point would the 49ers start playing for their future? They
already are. They already are. They're playing a lot of their young guys. The young guys, they plugged and played Pooney. They're starting Renardo. They're starting Mustafa. They're playing Pearsall a ton. They got to get results. These guys got to get results. Evan Anderson's playing a lot.
At what point will you go to the guys who not only have they not established themselves as starting quality NFL players, but you really don't even know what their role is on your roster? So you're going to use these final weeks to figure out what you got.
Yeah, there might be some, experimenting with some younger players in weeks 16, 17, 18, if they, the Mason, a little bit more from Evan Anderson, but, they're already playing a lot of these young guys. That's the thing. They've had the injury bug and it's bit them. Baby Radiant says, will Brock play Sunday? My guess is yes. That'll be my guess. We'll get this one from Fuji Simeon.
What's your official Bosa guess? No
Bosa. I'm saying this: no Bosa, no Trent. It's going to be Jalen Moore at left tackle. It's going to be Yatir Gross-Matos and Leonard Floyd starting at defensive end. But Brock Purdy's going to be out there. That would be my guess. Fuji Simeon says, looking forward to merch, Damon.
Yeah, that's
Side note, thoughts on Weird Kings mascot Roy AI? Also,
I think
MLB,
it's Roy Al, not Roy. It's like it's the Kings Royal Roy Al.
Sounds terrible. What is it?
It's basically
it a lion or something?
It's the Kings version of Mr. Met. It's a step right up and meet Met. It's like a basketball head with a crown on it on just a body that's wearing cape like the Burger King guy.
Future generations are going to look back and laugh at us about mascots. Also, MLB Hall of Fame
going for them is light the beam. Just keep doing that.
Light the beam and pass it to DeRozan when the shot clock's ticking down. Also, MLB Hall of Fame finalist. Does Ichiro get 100% vote or does someone vote no? If Ichiro came to MLB early, how close to Pete Rose is he in hits? First of all, he's the all-time hit king, I believe. If he comes to he was a 5-time All-Star for the Oryx Blue Wave before he ever came to America. He was an amazing player. Ichiro absolutely should be a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest baseball players I've ever seen. There's no doubt in my mind. If we were more of a power-based society, we would have more respect for Ichiro. But if we weren't such a power-based, we'd respect him. He's just he was such the awesome finesse player that we just don't respect finesse.
He'd roll out of bed, give you 3 for 4, and they'd all be awesome singles, but then he'd steal second.
And then hit for power in pregame to show everybody in BP that he was he could do it all.
One of the single, Andre Dawson, Roberto Clemente level outfield arms ever.
Great.
fucking hose.
Yeah,
I mean,
remember when he hosed Dye at third
yes.
in that game? That was an amazing play.
Yeah.
Fuji Simeon says,
Was it Dye or was it Terrence Long? Did he get Terrence Long?
He might have gotten both. I know he got Dye at third one time.
Okay.
Or maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Dye. Fuji Simeon says, thanks, Larry. I will look at the white hoodie then.
There you go.
You'll like
Thank
it.
you.
You'll like
Thank
it.
you,
Kev's
Fuji.
got one that looks good. Ernest Angulo, Damon, I love to hate you. With that being said, I hope Indiana loses just like Harris.
All I can tell you this. So if Indiana, so everyone's saying like
now he's going political. He hates you. He loves you. He's working in your college. This guy's really in your gear there.
Indiana hasn't played anybody. Okay, they're playing a Big Ten schedule, but if you want to say that, that's nobody. Fine. You know, they didn't have anybody have a lead on them until November. They have skinned teams alive, but I'll concede. Can they play with the big boys is a legitimate question still. If they go to Columbus and they win the game, no, hold on. If they go to Columbus and they win the game, I don't ever want to hear another word. I want them to be the 1 seed over Oregon in the Big Ten title game. Fuck everybody. If they win this game.
They have special talent.
They do.
I'll tell you right now. Mikhail Kamara is an NFL guy.
Yes, he
Surratt, what's his name? Sage Surratt?
Elijah Surratt.
Elijah Surratt, the receiver, big time player.
Absolutely. And dude, Rourke, the quarterback, I think could be an NFL quarterback. The guy is
not only that, the corner. Who's the corner? The corner is a true number one corner. Downs is his name?
Pons.
Yeah, he's a number one. That's a first round draft pick right there.
Yeah, I think so.
They get guys. They get dudes.
If Indiana wins the game, obviously there's nothing left to say. If Indiana really appoints itself well and, gives Ohio State everything they want, Indiana with 1 loss gets into the playoffs before any 2-loss SEC team blow me.
Where's that game?
If they get creamed, if Indiana gets molly 47-7, 40, just embarrassed, leave us home. Don't put us in the playoffs. If we come close to winning, we're in. If we win, we're definitely in. If we get molly-whopped, leave us out. I'll make that deal with you right now. Can they beat the big boys?
They're going to get into the playoff.
I think so. I mean, look at it this way. Maybe they're not having the best year, but Indiana did beat the defending national champion. I was pretty good, right?
That's in the horseshoe tomorrow morning. Buckeyes are 11-point favorites. Jonathan Smith, or is it Jeremiah Smith? Whoever it is, the freshman for Buckeyes is awesome. 9 touchdowns.
Yeah,
one of the greatest freshmen I've ever seen. This is number 5 Indiana on the road in Columbus against number 2 Ohio State. By the way, we got a hell of a game tonight. UNLV, Gary's running Rebs come to San Jose to take on the Spartans. Spartans are 6-4. It's UNLV by 7.5. That's gonna be a pretty good game.
Little Friday night, Friday night football action. Sure, give it to me.
The receiver for San Jose State, Nash, big time player. He's got 14 touchdowns. Pretty good football this weekend. Actually, some interesting matchups.
By the way, Eamon is saying Golden Corral chocolate fountains. It's not just nacho cheese, chocolate fountains. Yeah, not
sounds gluttonous. That sounds gluttonous.
Yeah, you don't need your chocolate served in fountain form, probably. Here's Larry, let's wrap up, I guess, with this. A little touch of positivity or maybe good vibes, since that's really all we can hope for the Niners. Good vibes, the cosmos breaks your way. I don't know. Again, the best chance that the 49ers have is no one is giving them a chance in this game. So fading the public is a good way to get rich. Having said all that, games do get funny between the 49ers and the Packers. They really do. They do. I mean, I was just thinking back. You got Kaepernick going bonkers on the ground in 2013. He runs for 181 yards. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. You got, the 49ers have been bad on special teams for like a solid decade now, but make the special teams play of their decade at Lambeau Field with that blocked punt in a 7-point game. And they go on to have the walk-off field goal at the very end of that playoff game. all those Packers games with Brett Favre and, all those games at Candlestick. There's so much history that maybe something a little goofy happens. I remember thinking the crescendo, maybe the zenith of Colin Kaepernick's, he's a bad motherfucker, career was when he walked out of that Lambeau locker room with no sleeves. It was like minus 30. And there he was.
Field was like dead.
Tats blazing. He oiled up the arms to make them shiny so he could show everybody, I'm not wearing any sleeves. We're here to fuck you up from the West Coast. And I think that was the best moment of Kaepernick's entire career. It really was. That was awesome when he came out there. The second most symbolic moment of his career, without a doubt, right? That was Kaepernick for a minute there, man. He had us all. We were like, oh, look at this. This is shiny and new, and no one's ever quite seen anything quite like that. And then
he had me till the 2 pick sixes against the Cardinals. That was pretty much
bad.
rough.
That was.
But
bad.
Hey, go to Sam's Chowder House and have a oysters Rockefeller and forget about Cap.
You don't need to worry about anything when you got that lobster roll sitting in front of you. The world gets good when that paella hits the table. Go and get yourself down to Sam's Chowder House. Tell them that Damon and Larry sent you, by the way. They love hearing that. Make sure you say, we were watching. Wake up with Damon and Larry. That's why we're here. So thank you all for supporting the channel with supers, with likes, subscribing. Are we crushing that like button, everybody? We crushing that like button?
Hit that like and subscribe. If you hit the like, it's just more people find us in the algorithm. If you hit subscribe every time we hit, and you hit that notification bell, every time we go live, you'll get a little notification, a little ding on your phone. Hey, don't miss it.
Christopher gets it. Tell him Darren and Larry sent me. Absolutely. That's fine.
I was talking to Darren
and Gary.
Darren and Jerry are really, those guys are freaking right. Those guys are righteous. Oh, wait a second. We got this one. Mike 824. 49ers need a new defensive coordinator. Oh my goodness. Do I dare show Damon my question before we get out of here?
Yeah, I thought we were trying to end on an inspiring note, Larry. Is Nick Sorensen about to inspire us?
Yes, he is. Oh, he is going to inspire.
Inspire me, Nick. Let your non-answer filibuster nonsense wash over me.
How about this one? Instead of doing that, I'll bring you this. This is a little bit more lively. This, first of all, hide the comment. Okay, there we go. Now we'll share the screen. Kev made this little doozy. This is pretty good. I kind of like this one. Me ranting from earlier about Nick Sorensen's defense, which is almost better than listening to Nick say, it's my fault. It's kind of on me. Really? Is that what they call you must be the coordinator. All right, here we go.
Niners in the first quarter, EPA per play, 4th overall defensively in the first quarter. Really good. Top 5 in the league. They're a really good defensive team in the first quarter. In the second quarter, the Niners are 7th overall. Still, you'll take that every day. Top 10 in the second quarter. In the third quarter, they're ranked 13th defensively, EPA per play. And in the fourth quarter, they're ranked 28th in EPA per play, 28th. In the first quarter, they're 4th in the league. It's a top 5 defense. By the time the fourth quarter rolls around, it's one of the worst defenses in the entire league. That's startling. And what does it really tell you? You're sitting there going, well, okay, you're giving me the numbers. Interpret the numbers for me. They're running out of gas.
I mean, they're running out of gas, or other teams are starting to figure out the better way to move across the chessboard against a defense that doesn't make the adjustments that need to be made. I'll tell you, Larry, I saw a similar stat about their offense and how, pretty damn good first quarter, second quarter, and then it declines and drops off to the point where they hardly score at all in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, running out of gas and not seeing an entire game plan through have defined the 2024 49ers.
And on that note, let's call it a day. We're going to find out later today. This morning, Kyle will speak after practice. Niners practice around 12:30. Then I think Kyle speaks around 1:30, 1:40. We'll get the word on Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, if he's going to play, will talk to us. Brandon Allen, if he's going to start, he will talk to us. We'll have a lot more down here in Santa Clara. I'll be up on Niners Nightly tonight at 6. We're going to have Chris Babcock, who is the stats man for Greg and Tim. He's going to join us for a segment, and we're going to talk with somebody from Green Bay and get a little preview of Packers Niners tonight at 6 on Niners Nightly. So stop by and check it out at 6 o'clock on the Sports Leader. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Sam's Chowder House. It's time for us to bolt for the door. The one thing right now, when I think of the Niners right now, I kind of think of Trent Baalke when, he at the end there, he said, I really like my linebackers. It seems like, Damon, when guys are kind of fucking clueless and they don't know what they're doing anymore, they start to like linebackers that aren't any good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what old Trent Baalke, that's what I like Gerald Hodges. And if you talk to a Nick Sorensen, he likes Devondre Campbell. All right? He likes Devondre Campbell.
Well, look, I'm just going to tell you, Trent, I've been hearing things about you vis-a-vis the internet and a few other things, and I'm telling you that, if you want to come back to San Francisco, it might be time to pack your bags because Jacksonville is not going nearly as well as you thought it would. Lots of underachievement. Now the 49ers, they were good for a minute there, but then you started leaking all those things to the media, and this is why Jim Harbaugh didn't call you a trusted agent at that point. And then we don't know really what to put in the Miata. Is it your truth or your lies? And we don't know anymore. And this is why you had to go, but maybe you can come back. We can be friends again. I don't really know, but we need some new eyes on this. Maybe some new eyes and old eyes and cross the eyes and dot the T's and all that stuff and try me cheese.
Devondre was my favorite player. I love that name, Devondre. I don't know why. I kind of wish my mom had called me Devondre. She called me Ralph. I thought Devondre would have been a better name. Devondre Barbieri would have had a nice little ring to it. But if he keeps missing tackles, I'm never going to let him in my Miata.